Hi, my name is John Osmond. I'm a database application developer, and I use Microsoft Access and SQL Server to create great database applications for my customers. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate one of the Access add-ins that I created to help save some time when I'm creating prototype databases at the very beginning of a project. In this add-in is all about ribbons. And so before I get to the add-in itself, let me demonstrate a ribbon. And I've done this in a previous video that I've made about this application. This is called my Starter DB application. It has a lot of sample code. It has a lot of demo code. It has code that I can copy into new databases so I can get started quickly. But in this, you can see this dashboard here. It has a custom ribbon. It just has 2 buttons on the ribbon because that's all it needs. But if I open up one of the index forms, like the company's index, you can see it's got a custom ribbon. If I go back and open up the people's index, it's got a very similar ribbon, but it's slightly different. I'll show you that in just a moment. Now, the thing about my custom ribbon is that it has a lot of built-in access tools, like all the way here from paste all the way over to the find tools. These are all built into the access ribbon, but the access ribbon is quite complex and it's a little hard for new users to get used to. If I go back over to the database that's almost empty, that has the built-in access ribbon showing, you can see it's got several tabs. It's got a lot of tools that they won't need if they're just data entry people, or even if they're a little beyond data entry people. Most of these tools they don't need. Most of these tools are just for designing the database. So it's a little overwhelming, and sometimes it's hard to find the tool that they need because they have to remember which tab the tool they need is on, and they got to go looking for it. So what I do is I consolidate all that into just one tab. I call it the application tab. It has the tools that they need to work with the data, but then it also has some custom tabs. For example, if I go to any of these records, you see that they're locked by default. I'm pressing my keyboard right now and nothing's happening. If a user wants to edit the record, they have to unlock the record first. And you see they get a little visual change in the color, and now these records are unlocked. So the user can make the change they want and then relock the record. Or unlock the record, work with a few of them, and then relock the record. In addition to that, I have different commands drop-down list and different reports in a drop-down list. And those are customized. They're not the same ones from form to form. If I go over to a different index form, then you can see it's got a custom reports, and this one doesn't have any commands. If I open up yet a third one, it also has different options going on. So these change depending on what form you're on. That's what a custom ribbon is all about. Another custom tool I do is, instead of adding new records down here at the bottom, I have the end user select the new record button, and usually they use a pop-up form to create new records. They can save and close or save and new after they fill out the new information about a new record. So that's a little quick demonstration about what a custom ribbon looks like. If I open up one of the reports that I've created, this also is a custom ribbon. Again, it has some built-in access tools, but they're organized in a more logical way, in my opinion. And it also has some custom tools as well out here, like closing the report or closing the form. Or if I'm on the dashboard, I can close all other forms and reports other than just the dashboard itself. So that's a little synopsis of the custom ribbons that I put in almost every database that I create. So let me close this sample database and get back to the one that I created brand new when I created the AutoKeys macro. And I'm going to go ahead and use that AutoKeys macro to show and hide the hidden database, hidden objects here, because I'm about to create a new one with this other add-in. If I go to Database Tools, and I go to the add-ins and I choose Ribbons Table. See, this is the Ribbons Table add-in. And first thing I want to do is I want to create the USIS Ribbons Table. You'll see it pop up right over here. Click on that button and there it is. If I move this out of the way, I can open that in the background and maybe click into the Ribbon XML field, hit Shift F2 and open it up into the zoom box. I can increase the size of that zoom box so you can see it a little better. And this is the XML that creates the custom ribbon for, I believe I was on the dashboard ribbon when I did this. Yeah, the dashboard ribbon. Now, I'm not going to save this. I'll hit the escape key. But the other thing about it is that if I want to update that XML, I don't usually do it here in this table. I usually keep this table hidden. So let me close it and then hide the hidden objects again. So what I want to do is in this third option here, I'm going to skip over the second one for just a second. If I look to the file where the database that I'm working on exists, notice there's nothing else in that database, or that file rather than the database itself. And this is just called a locking file. Whenever you open a database, Access creates a locking file so that it can control who else is connected to it. So that's really all there is in this particular folder, this particular directory on Windows. But if I say export the ribbon XML files, it exports that ribbon that you just saw in the USYS ribbons table. You can see the message here says that they were exported successfully. If I go back over to that folder, here they are. There's the backstage, the dashboard, the index forms, and the reports. The 4 ribbons that I work with most commonly. And of course I can add more if I need them, but these are the 4 that I work with almost all the time. Now, if I open one of these up, like let's say I open up the index forms, on my computer I have it set to open up XML files with a program called Visual Studio Code. So if I open that up and maybe move myself out of the way, you can see some of the complexity of the XML. This is stuff that I wrote just for my purposes. If I try to open up the dashboard or open something up and use the ribbon, there would be an error message that gets thrown because the code isn't here. So that's what this second button does. It creates the code modules that makes it all work. These are the code modules that line up with some of the ribbon commands that you just saw. And also, just like I've said in a couple other videos, a lot of times when you create stuff like this, you need to get out and get back in order for it to initialize. So let me do that. Let me get out of the file and get back into it. So the first one I want to show you is that backstage. If you look here to the file menu, you see all these options here for the backstage. But if I go to options itself, go to current database, come down here to ribbon name, and I tell it that I want to use the backstage as the default ribbon, it'll change its behavior when you reopen the file. Once again, I'm going to get back out, get back in, and I'll go to the file menu, and you see it's changed. All those other things, including the options themselves and the account information and the info, there's only 2 now, home and close. Now, if I go to the dashboard, go to the design view, and come to the ribbon name property here, if the property sheet's not open, you just open it right here. Come to the ribbon name and open up this drop-down list. These are the ribbons that you just saw that are created from that USYS ribbons table. And of course, I'm on the dashboard, so I'm going to choose the dashboard ribbon. And I'm going to try to open that ribbon. And there's the custom ribbon for you. So look me up on my website, prodbdevelopers.com. Hopefully you're viewing this video on YouTube, but I'm also going to maybe produce some copies for the vertical phone layout for TikTok and Instagram. And so somehow you'll hear about my work and maybe want to hire me. Look me up and reach out to me, and let's get your project started. Thank you.